Hello, this is the weekly edition of the Zera Shimshon, and I know everybody's kind of on vacation this week in America, so I'll make this short and sweet, and hopefully, and I'm also including this week a Segula story, a short one, and don't forget it's Parshat BeShalach, and it's Zion on Chodesh Shvat. And this is Parshas, the birds. Mitzvah Hashem plays out some, not on Shabbos, but on Erev Shabbos, put out some food for the birds, because they deserve it. Okay, what's the story with the olives? It says, Omar Iyov, Omar Oyev, Erdaif Asiga Chalek Shalatim La'emu Nafshi. This is a pasuk in BeShalach Tesvav. The enemy say, I will pursue. Erdaif is olive. Asig, I will overtake. Achalek, I will divide the spoils. And achalek shalom. And my soul shall be filled with them. Okay, the first 5 words of the pasuk. Omar, Oyev, Asig, Achalek, right? Erdaif, Asalek. And the first 5 words of the pasuk begin with the letter Aleph. Why? The Egyptian exile was supposed to last for 430 years. 5 times 86. 86 is the Shem Elohim. That's the numerical value of the name of Elohim. And also Hateva. Chazal tell us that the hardships of the exile lasted for 86 years, from when Miriam was born until they left Egypt. According to this calculation, the harsh enslavement took place only a fifth of the time that it should have lasted. We find a similar idea expressed in the Sefer Taras Chaim, which says that the reason Bnei Yisrael were subjected to 4 additional exiles after their brutal time in Egypt was because they needed to finish the 4 parts of the suffering they had been spared while in Egypt. Why didn't they fulfill their debt while still in Egypt? Okay. Hashem saw that the Jewish people had already sunk to the 49th level of impurity, and he knew that if they would be there any longer, there would no longer be Jewish nation to redeem. He therefore rescued them in haste. But the reality was that they never finished the exile, and the debt remains. It's possible, suggested there is our Shimshon, that our obligation to consume 4 kazesim of matzah on Seder night for the mitzvahs of Hamaitzi, Achilas, Matzah, Kairech, and Afikaimin are due to the fact that Hashem hastened the end of the exile, shortening it by 4 parts. The 4 pieces of matzah that we eat hint at the 4 parts of the exile that we are spared by leaving early. In a moment in time that when we were hurried into the wilderness so rapidly that our dough didn't even have time to rise. Paro felt the same way, convincing himself that his extended and illogical war with the Jews was not yet over. Yet, since Bnei Yisrael were still missing 4 of the 5 parts of the galus, they couldn't possibly be redeemed. He was therefore confident that he was going to corner them by the sea and bring them back. This is what the 5 olives are coming to signify: the 5 portions of the galus. The numerical value of Hashem's name Elohim multiplied 5 times. And the fact that 4 of those portions were still lacking when the Jews were redeemed. That's from the Zera Shimshon in our Parsha, Ois Yud Aleph. And there's a short Segula story that I thought was very nice. And as anyone trying to find a home or apartment to rent or purchase in the religious neighborhoods in New York City can tell you, it's virtually impossible to find a good deal. Simply speaking, real estate prices are sky high, and young couples are constantly forced to move out of town or live in small, tiny basement apartments, sometimes without windows or proper ventilation. But there is no question that the demand is far greater than the supply. I managed to purchase an apartment in Williamsburg, but despite having done everything I was supposed to and fulfilling all the criteria demanded of me by the New York State Housing Department, the city still refused to grant me a certificate of occupancy. is claiming that I hadn't done everything demanded of me. The lease in my apartment was almost up. I had nowhere else to go, and the city wouldn't grant me the necessary documents. Always claiming another reason why it wasn't yet possible to move in. I was willing to do anything they asked, but somehow, despite my best efforts, I found myself spinning my wheels. Erev Chodesh Tammuz, I purchased the Sefer Zer Shimshon and began learning it, and not long afterward, on Vav Elo, the day of the Rav Shimshon, Zer Shimshon's yard site, I received a permit from the city allowing me to move into my new home. There didn't seem to be any question in my mind, at least, that the city's sudden change of heart could only be attributed to the fact that I had begun learning from the Sefer of this very holy Jew. Zecher Tzadik HaKadosh V'Racha. Okay, everybody have a wonderful Parshas BeShalach, and don't forget the birds. Okay, Kol Tov, have a nice vacation.